Jewhurst, and I'll be taking you through the commentary tonight, but you don't need to listen just to my dulcet tones. There's also the added expert opinion of two Irish internationals. You were joined in the commentary box by Luke Marshall and Kieran Treadwell. Has that started to get old yet, Kieran, Irish international?
No. Not really, hasn't really sunk in, to be honest, now. Sort of moved on quite quickly. Let's get on to pre-season.
Absolutely.
The first game is pre-season right now. And
yeah, and it's
itching to get out there.
I know, I'm sure you are, especially against Wasps, English team who you've come up against before. But just to keep you updated here, Ulster are playing in their new, slightly unfamiliar to most, black kit, and Wasps are playing here in white as Nick Timoni gets his hands on the ball for the first time, and Callum Black hits it up in the midfield. Is there anyone you're looking forward to seeing here tonight, Luke?
Yeah, a few of the young guys. I suppose Nick Timoni at 8, you know, we saw a bit of him last year, just in sort of bits and pieces in training, and he played obviously for the Irish 7 teams, but he looks like a great athlete and seems to have a good rugby brain too, so it's good to see him get a run tonight.
Absolutely. Talking of good athletes, there's Craig Gilroy, hands on the ball.
Hair looking perfect as well.
I would expect nothing less as Rob Miller sends the ball right out to the far touchline for Wasps. Huge season for Wasps. This is their 150th competitive year, which is absolutely incredible, and it's a massive year, and they'll want to certainly go one better than they did last year, finishing runners-up in the Premiership. As a ball goes slightly astray there, it's well gathered up, and well, not quite well gathered up as it turns out, and we get to see our first scrum of the day. Kieran, I can sense you're getting excited already. Yeah, first scrum of the day.
Scrum. See how the boys are going out. We have Aaron looking after us at the moment within the scrum, and scrum sessions have been intense and they've been hard work, and usually the back rows get a bit of an easy run in the scrum, but not this season. But no, excited to see how John Andrew does in the middle there.
Yeah.
Didn't get many starts last year, did he? So
nobody's a fast boy.
Very athletic again.
Tough position for him. He's behind Rory and Rob Heron as well.
Sort of another back row, really.
Well, interesting you say that. We've got he's up against Ashley Johnson, number 2 hooker for Wasps, who ironically signed for Wasps in 2012 from the Cheetahs as a back row, and spent 3 years playing there, and did fantastically until he transitioned into the hooker position. There's not many hookers about who have that accolade.
Yeah,
no, definitely not.
But we're essentially going to see 2 very fit hookers on the pitch.
I reckon there'll be a few bodies that are blowing out there, to be honest, at the moment.
Don't need as much fitness as possible.
Definitely. Paul Marshall puts the ball in there. The first scrum looks nice and steady. And Gilroy filling in the number 10 position there as McCluskey, the battering ram, gets his hands on the ball early. Chris Henry taking it up.
Well, the interesting matchup between Stuart McCluskey and Wasp 12. I'm not going to try and pronounce that name, but
I'll go for Lovabalavu, and that'll keep us happy.
Looks like quite a specimen.
Yeah, definitely.
It's good pressure from Carl there.
Very good pressure.
Callum getting a run out tonight.
Brett Heron takes it quickly. Louis Ludick on the ball. Going in a little bit high and is held up there by the man we were talking about, Johnson. And is it going to be a turnover?
Good strength.
Oh.
Up high, was it? No.
Nice.
That
must be high.
I think he got down. I think he managed to get a knee down.
Nice show of intensity though from Ulster, looking to not take the line out, just to go quickly to keep the intensity high. Big game for Brett Heron. He's had 7 caps for the Ulster side, Ulster senior side, so a big game for him.
Yeah, good chance for him to put his hand up, I suppose, as well. If, there's good chances for all the young 10s at the minute. Positions in the next few weeks should be up for grabs.
Well, I'll tell him how well he did when we get home.
I bet you will.
Treadwell's not very kind here. That's his housemate we're talking about.
So John Andrew puts the ball in, nice cleanly one at the front, looking for the early drive, but Wasps have initially handled that very nicely. But there looks to be a secondary drive.
Well.
Chris Henry manning it up at the front. The ball comes out. Marshall over the ball again. Hits it up through the forwards.
Through Matty Ray, another young guy.
Yeah.
Great to see him in, yeah.
Good opportunity for him as well. Looks a good chance here.
Just cut back inside there from Ludic.
Yeah, well defended.
Still on.
Wasps.
Big hit coming in there.
Yeah, defence has been good. Good carry.
Good carry from McCluskey. That, as you say, it's two-man defence on every
Sucks guys
Ulster
every
attacker.
On Chris.
Going through the phases very nicely here, Ulster, as Brett Heron throws a little bit of a dummy and
Great
cuts
footwork.
back inside. Pete Brown ever on hand. Callum Patterson there, good to see him in the hands of the ball. He hit a few, came up against a few rather large specimens in the Barbarians side back in June.
First time you've seen Cipriani on the ball, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's somebody we're really looking forward to see here. Danny Cipriani in the number 10 shirt,
especially
for Wasps.
On a night like this, with a good hard surface, I think he'll be relishing the chance to get the ball in his hands.
Absolutely, and he's got a lot to prove and play for as well. He's over 1,000 Premiership points to his name, and I've no doubt this season he'll want to add to that. Yeah. So we first put into the line-out. It's a 6-man line-out for Wasps. Let's see what Ashley Johnson's throwing's like.
Oh, it's good
pressure well up from Ulster there.
Robbed. Getting up well.
Chris Henry taking it up.
He's getting his hands on the ball a lot already,
isn't he? Yep.
Work rate so far.
Wasps disrupting that brilliantly, but Ulster managed to come away with it. John Andrew gets his hands on the ball. The Wasps defence not giving away a yard at the minute as Brett Heron again cuts back inside, this time to Ludic. Paul Marshall, and again a slight change of play from Heron, who's controlling the ball well so far. McCluskey, the bounce of the ball didn't go well off the boot, and Wasps regather. A lot of numbers out here for Wasps if they can move it quickly. Cipriani through the hands,
good
right
feet.
The way down.
Great offload, lovely offload.
Lovely by Lukavalafu, and
Brendan Mackin making a good run. Good to see him back in Irish soil.
Absolutely. And a great counter-rucking by Ulster, just putting a little bit of, but the referee decides that was in through the side, not through the gate. And it's going to be a first penalty to Wasps, and this will see where their stall lies. Easily kickable penalty, but I would imagine on a day such as this, it's not really about the points. What does a coach, in your opinion, hope to get out of this sort of pre-season match?
I suppose,
if your Rainy boys were playing, in this look, what would you be hoping to get out of a pre-season match?
A game like this, obviously it's the first pre-season game for Ulster here, so they're going to be a bit rusty. Certain partnerships haven't had much time to gel, and even new patterns and stuff. The guys haven't been able to put it in the match format yet. So it's really, I suppose, attitude. That's what the coaches are looking at. Looking at the application of the guys, and stuff like work rate. They know there's going to be mistakes, but it's you can tell this game's going to be quick as well. They know that, and the guys' fitness is going to be tested. So it's just their, I suppose, the heart and the work rate and sort of intensity they show here. Yeah,
and I suppose to a certain degree combinations as well. Like I just saw their combination didn't quite work between Hampson and Cipriani. Cipriani maybe got slightly ahead, passed slightly behind him. Those sort of little things that'll just be looking to tease out. Anything particular you're looking for, Kieran? Things that have tried in a training pitch, particularly lineouts and scrums, and
yeah, again, similar to Luke, really. Probably looking at sort of more attitudinal sort of aspects of the game. Really, it's only 9 minutes gone, and it's pretty end-to-end stuff. I think at the moment, it's quite exciting to watch. Ulster have had some good ball in hand time. As you can see there, strong scrum from Ulster.
Very strong scrum, yeah.
And here we probably have an opportunity to exit.
Good kick from Gilly.
Very deep, well taken
by Rob Miller.
And here come Wasps as their first real opportunity for a good counter-attack.
Good solid chase
winger
line there from
Bassett.
Ulster.
Well held. Wasps up to the 10-metre line already. Right the way out. Lovabalavu getting his hands on the ball early as well. Those two centres are...
They've actually worked well together, combined a couple of times now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about that Ulster defence coming up fast, and that's what they're doing.
That's probably another key thing the coaches will be looking for is defence. Obviously again, some partnerships might be a bit rusty, but the intent to get off the line and make a tackle.
Good tackle by Paul Marshall there.
Yes, Cal.
And Wasps slowly starting to creep forward. Not as fast a ball as they'd maybe like.
Good tackle by McCluskey.
Big tackle.
Slows the ball up very well.
No scrum half though in position, so the whole thing slowed down. Big Will Rowlands there comes in to fill that void.
Good line.
Cipriani passes it through again, sets it up in the midfield with his forwards. Rowlands over the ball. Nice little inside ball, little show and go there, and look who's there, but Guy Thompson, we were talking about him earlier. There's a lovely inside ball, and that's a great try from Wasps.
Very well worked. Great try.
Craig Hampson in under the post, some lovely hands there from several Wasps players there.
A real trademark Wasp try, you know, it's the sort of rugby they played over the last couple of seasons.
You can see this late distribution here from Cipriani, delays the pass, out the back.
Just drew a couple of guys, and then this little dummy here. Just those little things, those intricacies that make all the difference. Yeah. Great running by Guy Thompson, though. A man who came in from Jersey to the Wasps team. 22 tries in 4 seasons in back row, which is a decent stat against your name, I would say. We've had quite a lot of changes. It's been a dramatic off-season, I think it's fair to say, since we were last here for the Barbarians match. We've got new coaches in. We've got John O'Gibbs, Dwayne Peel, amongst others, who are in making a difference. We've had, well, I was about to say a successful Lions tour, but certainly the result wasn't quite as expected. A very positive Lions tour. We've had a Pro 14 now, which is a complete shake-up. Has there been that uncertainty about pre-season that's kind of like the preparation's maybe slightly different to previous years with new coaches, new league format, or do you just get about it and hammer in?
I think it's been not so much uncertainty, more excitement, you know, especially with the new coaches coming in and the new league format and structure. 2 new teams, you know, it's very exciting times, you know, to be part of the league. So it'll be interesting to see how the season unfolds. Absolutely.
2 South African franchises added to the Pro 12, and the league split into 2 separate sections with 7 teams in each, if my mathematics serves me correctly. First up for Ulster at the start of the season, and 1st of September, the Cheetahs. What a great opportunity to get our teeth into some South African flesh early on.
Yeah, that'll be a very good test for us. I think first game up. Obviously, it'll be a good match. It's quite hard to prepare because we've never sort of played anyone that they've played against or them. So it's very hard to analyse what we sort of have to bring to the table. But I think it will be sort of similar to this game, sort of attitudinal really. And if we want to win, and hopefully the scoreboard will look after itself. And
I think the fact as well, if Cheetahs coming out of just finishing the Super Rugby season, they'll certainly not be rusty. They'll be, you know,
fresh, ready to go.
Yeah. So it will be a tough test, and they play quite a quick, fast-paced game as well. So
yeah, definitely. You know, Ulster really starting to pair into the Wasps team here right off that scrum, going through the phases very well for a pre-season match.
Forwards are getting through a lot of work, carrying off 9 a lot. I suppose that's John O'Gibbs' influence on them. Yeah, well, that was always going to happen, I suppose, wasn't it? A man of his calibre in the forwards. Yeah. Good pick-up by Marshall there at the base to Heron. Good offload again. The Wasps' defence, though, just like a perfect line behind the back foot of the ruck. Very difficult team to break through. Very well organised. And it's going to take multiple phases. Marshall over the ball again. Brett Heron, but I think there was was it Pete Brown coming in late there, was it?
It was in the side entry.
Was it?
Well, we'll get a wee replay of this and see what was going on. It's nice to see the combinations there come in the front row, carrying it up nicely there.
Good low tackle there.
Yeah, double teaming there from Wasps
on the side there.
Callum.
That's a shame because Ulster were building very nicely, and it's also a shame, whether you can pick it up on the screen or not, that the blue skies above the Kingspan have turned into grey clouds, and that misty rain has started to descend.
It's starting to turn into a miserable night.
It's almost like starting the season. getting ready for what's to come.
turnover.
Good tip it off. It went backwards according to the referees, who Ulster still in possession. Paul Marshall, first little box kick.
Great kick.
Sees a bit of a gap.
Well covered by his opposite number.
It's very well read there. Oh, and a little breakout. Good tackling there by Ulster. Have to get their defence in gear again. Wasps have set up very wide and very deep in the back line. Good tackling there by Chris Henry. And they're going to change direction through Hampson. Oh, good hit there by Trimble.
Trademark Andrew Trimble read from the outside there.
Absolutely, yeah. It's great to see Andrew Trimble in his 13th season, and has certainly lost none of his influence that he can have in the park.
Definitely not.
In fact, he seems to have grown every year that he comes.
He's looked very sharp in pre-season this year. I think he's probably got a point to prove in some ways, you know, with a few of the young guys starting to show themselves, the likes of Jacob Stockdale and Rob Little. I'm sure Trimble wants to show he's a few years left in him still.
I think that's the interesting thing for me this season with Ulster. Really, you look at the back line, and there's such competition there. It's almost hard. Everyone will come up with their own different combination of that 7 players. It's very hard to kind of see. I'm sure maybe, hopefully it excites you. Look, you're going to be in a part of that, and there's such competition. Everyone ups their level. Yeah,
no, it's great. It's only, competition is only a good thing. You know, it pushes guys on, and the other thing as well, having multiple guys in positions to, cover whatnot. You know, that season's long, and there's always going to be injuries. Yeah. So to have good standard in the backup positions is great.
One of the benefits of a match like this, with 30 players on the squad here tonight for Ulster, so there's certainly going to be plenty of changes as Gilroy gets the ball. Trimble coming right off on the other wing to help his wing colleague, and there seems to be a bit of an advantage there from the referee. He doesn't. Paul Marshall's happy enough to take that advantage, and they're going to get a penalty. I'm not too sure what that was for there, but Brett Heron hands in the ball. I think Brett Heron has controlled the back line very nicely in the first opening 15-16 minutes there. He'll be very happy with that. A very solid start.
Yeah, no, he's done well. They've kept a nice structure to the game.
And a decent kick from the touch finder takes Ulster into Wasps 22.
Be interesting to see if they up the maul off this or if they spread it wide and look to use the backs.
It's almost one of those 50-50 positions of the line out. If you're near the 5 metre line, you'd be talking drive. Well, they're going for the drive. Obviously, they want to practice this, get these sort of situations under their belt.
Really good setup there.
Meat and drink here.
Really good setup. We're going around the corner there. Wasp players inside there. Hopefully the ref will pick that up.
Well,
that's once.
Yeah, there's a few Wasp players in around the side, but they've obviously come legally, and a little fumble on the deck there. That's twice now. Wasp have actually done very well defending that. They've hit it hard, and they've just nudged Ulster back a little bit.
Have done very well there.
Quite a tough one to interpret that, in the ball when someone holds it up, because the ball seemed to be on the ground there, but which I think by the letter of the law would be an Ulster ball. But
I love it when a back starts giving an analysis on a line-out maul.
I have to sit back and watch so many of these maul scrums. I'm an expert now from a distance.
Kieran, I'm waiting for you to analyse some backline moves. Some competition in the second row as well.
Yeah,
and back row for Ulster.
It's a good thing. It's a really good thing to have that competition within the squad. It boosts the squad. It makes us more competitive within the league if we've got that in-house competition.
Yep, definitely.
We all bring different things to the table,
and that is a huge scrum from Wasps. We've seen a few Ulster scrums, and they've been solid as rocks. But Wasps just had a little bit of an edge there on their own ball, and a great opportunity from Danny Cipriani to clear the lines there.
I think the Wasp scrum is slightly heavier than the Ulster scrum, if I'm correct.
Let me see. We've
got
good
stats.
Absolutely. The Wasp pack is 930 kgs, and the pack weight of Ulster is just 882. So
did you look that up before you came out tonight, did you?
Seriously. Cheeky bandit looking over my shoulder here, stealing my notes. That's the youth of today, I suppose. But anyway, another line out for Wasps on the halfway line. In goes the ball. It's a big, deep one. Didn't look that straight, but the referee's happy enough.
Crowd not happy.
He's just, that's a big run in, but just misses his man, Trimble. He came out early to smoke his opposite number and just missed the tackle, but the ball slowed down anyway.
Good tackle from Brett Heron there.
Yeah, it's good defensive. Ulster actually pushed Wasp back now, well behind the gain line. Good pick up by Cipriani.
Big hit.
Big hits in defence, absolutely. And a penalty as a result of that coming from the knock-on, and then an offside. I'm not too sure who was in the offside.
Brilliant defence. That'll be very pleasing to see for the coaches to see that intent off the line and the contacts as well.
I should say as well, a welcome if you're watching as a Wasps fan. It's a big season for Wasps, as we said, but not just in terms of the 150, but in terms of the potential that this side has. We've seen them building slowly over the last 7-8 years since they last won major silverware, and they are a serious force. Well, they topped the league last year. Obviously, then you go on to play the playoffs, and the result of the final didn't go their way, but a lot of expectation riding on these Wasps players as well.
Yeah, well, they've probably been one of the best teams in Europe over the last 2-3 years. You know, their league form has been sort of scintillating. You know, they play a lovely brand of rugby. They've just been a bit unfortunate in the sort of business end of the season, but I'm sure they're hoping for silverware in one of the competitions this year.
Absolutely. It was Leinster who put paid to them in the quarter-final of Europe down at the Aviva, beating them 32-17. And of course Exeter beating them in the Premiership final, and that's a fine kick from Brett Heron. Lovely to see, and a nice one to start him off. And that brings the scoreline at the minute after 21 minutes to Ulster 3 and Wasps 7. I think you'd be happy so far from an Ulster coaching perspective that they're going through the phases, building well, and defensively pretty sound.
Yeah, no, some of the defence has been very good, and you know, to be fair, Wasps tries, you know, we came from a sort of far-out break. You know, Wasps haven't got too close to the try line. Good
take from Louis Ludick there from the kickoff, setting it up just outside his 22. Paul Marshall with another box kick, very deep this time. There's a bit of a chase from Gilroy and a bit of blocking there from the Wasps returning player, but superb defence from Ulster, but Wasps have it nicely set up. Hampson puts it out to his forwards again. He's going to change direction maybe. Does a little bit of running. He's a fast scrum half as well. Oh, and a little bit of a show and go. And suddenly Gilroy's put his boot to it, and there's an opportunity down this left-hand side. It's going to be well wrapped up. Well, it's not actually. It's just nudged into touch there by Marcus Watson as he was sliding across. Lovely from Gilroy. Classic opportunistic wee chip through.
See if we go for that maul again and see if we can break them.
Third time's a charm. Marcus Watson there, who slid in, didn't quite just gather that. In case you're recognising the number 14 and the name Watson, he's the older brother of Anthony Watson, the English and Lions player.
Here we go, some good momentum coming here now.
Yeah, and Ulster start getting the move forward. It's all about patience. Paul Marshall there just mustering the troops. It's all gone a bit static. The referee will probably want Ulster to use it soon. Marshall's over the ball. It's starting to break up a little. And it's been taken off around the side, 2 metres shy of the line here. Paul Marshall, good line by McCluskey, but just doesn't quite manage to hold on to it. And it's going to be a knock-on, 5 metre scrum.
The ball seems to be getting pretty greasy now.
Yeah, it's not going to be pleasant to play in. Good line from McCluskey, though.
Very good line there.
Pretty hard to stop from that range as well. They did well.
It's just those wee things, I suppose. You need this sort of game to find the timings between runners, to see what's happening, to try and re-familiarise yourself with combinations.
Yeah. I suppose it's that sort of almost chemistry between different players and different combinations. You know, even that line McCluskey ran there off Marshy. You know, that's throughout the season, I'm sure that'll happen many times. You know, and it's just getting the timing almost for Marshy even to be able to pass it almost nearly blind. Just know he's going to be there.
Big season for Paul Marshall as well. We've got John Cooney coming in for Ulster. Obviously, played with you guys, made his debut for Ireland in the Summer Internationals over in Japan, and a real opportunity for Paul Marshall, who's somewhat lived in Ruan Pinar's shadow for the last few years, but has always added something whenever he's come on off the bench or whenever he started a game. He always adds that little bit of pace, something very different. Have you seen how's having Cooney and Marshall as your kind of key scrum halves? Have you seen much in?
I think they're different players. I think Cooney's very sort of explosive and very sort of opportunistic, I think, really. Whereas Marshy is very consistent.
And that's what you really want. You want two players. You want somebody coming off the bench who'll change things up and mix it up.
I think it's great for all the nines, you know, the likes of, you know, even Dave Shanahan on the bench, Aaron Kearns. Like it's a, you know, it's a real good opportunity for all of them. And even Johnny Stewart, you know, coming free at under 20s level, you know, there might be opportunities for him as well.
We'll not mention too much about the leaving of Ruan Pinar, but there is no doubt that it will have benefits for these type of players to come through who are more homegrown Irish players, and you will not over egg the pudding by talking any more of that, but it is good to see though still that the talent that is coming through, and Dave Shanahan obviously had his debut last season and played in Europe and played very well.
Yeah, no, and you never know about players until they get a chance at the higher level, you know, and you know, you don't know someone like you know, Aaron Kearns or Dave Shanahan, you know, a couple of games, like, you know, you don't know what level they could get to.
Absolutely, and a great pick up off the tail. Oh, it's been intercepted, but in an offside position, possibly, according to the referee. There's real opportunity there. Marshall sent a long looping ball, but just Marcus Watson was just able to get up and grab it. But
he's someone you don't want. He's someone you don't want to let run the length of the pitch.
Oh,
very
definitely
fast.
not. But again, are we going to go for a scrum here, or are they going to take the fourth line out? There looked like real potential for that scrum. Brett Heron has the ball in hand, and
we're going for the line out.
Yeah. Oh, and a quick tap. Chris Henry obviously called that one. There's space maybe out in the right if they can flash this quickly. Marshall to Heron. Heron gets a good ball to Patterson.
Again, the Wasps defence very good, very watertight.
Matty Ray, the man without a number, takes it up. Good defence. So Pete Brown makes a bit of a lash. Is he going to get there? Brilliant try. Great carry from Pete Brown.
And brilliant play by Paul Marshall to avoid that tackle and get the ball away.
Absolutely. There was, and even right from the word go there, that was Brett Heron, quick tap off to Chris Henry, who presumably called that from just to his right side. Some lovely hands. Callum Patterson getting involved. Matty Ray getting involved.
It's a good team try. Took them through, you know, 3 or 4 phases there and did well to score in the end.
Slightly reminiscent of the All Blacks try against the British Lions there, where just that opportunistic quick tap penalty in front of the post when the opposition have just dropped their guard. They're expecting something totally different, and that's the things that you've got to do to shake up a game, isn't it?
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah. I think that's, you know, the try they scored against the Lions is why the All Blacks are the best team. You know, a quick tap and just simple hands, but I doubt there's too many other teams in the world could have done it.
Yeah. It's about belief when you do that. You just know, you have to know in your mind you're actually, if you do this, you're going to score.
Yeah.
And doing this in this sort of match will give the Ulster players that sort of belief that, hold on, we can do that too.
That should give some confidence now to the Ulster players, and hopefully we go on and the scoreboard keeps on ticking over and rolling over, and hopefully some more tries this evening. Absolutely.
Brett Heron now from slightly wider out than his first kick. Gives it a good lash. Picks the tee up, but it just drifts to the wide of the posts. 28 minutes gone then, and Ulster lead here at the Kingspan Stadium this pre-season warm-up game, 8-7. It's been a tight old affair, but both sides' skill levels for this start of the season have actually been pretty high. Not too many knock-ons and errors going through the face as well, as once again Wasps put it very deep. Brett Heron claiming it this time. Wasps up pretty quickly there. The big number 3, Cooper Woolley, makes the tackle, and Brett Heron sticks that into touch. Good opportunity now for Wasps just outside the Ulster 22. They have a line out. Be interesting to see. I suppose again in a pre-season match, it's a balance between trying some moves, like in this line out, trying some things, but not giving away too much as well.
Yeah, I suppose it's a good opportunity. It's not really, there's not a lot to play for, I suppose. It's just sort of pride, and I think trying new things in these sort of games is really ideal, and to have an opportunity like that to try these new moves is fantastic.
Wasps keen to use their battering ram of attack, and they've done it very, very well. They've set that mold brilliantly, and they've really started a march. They've made about 10-15 metres, but they are heading towards the touchline if Ulster can defend it that way. They have done well. But just a very slight knock on. This match maybe has a little bit of extra bite to it because, of course, Ulster and Wasps have been drawn in the same European group this year alongside La Rochelle and Quins. Interesting one there. What do you make of that, Kieran?
No, it'll be different running out of the Quins change room and the away change room, but it'll be good experience, and it'll be good to play against some of the boys that I used to train with and train against. It'll be a good experience, I think, and hopefully Ulster can get the W.
Yeah, definitely. 2 Ws.
Well, yeah, definitely.
I think that's the thing about Europe. It makes it interesting. Just winning at home isn't really enough anymore. So we've an Ulster put into the scrum, just waiting for referee Frank Murphy to give the nod. In goes the ball. Wasp again starting to put a little bit of pressure. Well picked up by Nick Timoney at the tail. Ulster just looking to, as they call it, put their exit strategy into effect. Good box kick. Gilroy chasing very well and forced Anthony Watson, or Anthony Watson, his brother, to knock on. Well done by John Andrew, pumping the legs. Marshall sends it right.
Great carry.
Good step there by O'Connor. Good offload to Henry. Marshall, Brett Heron calling for it. McCluskey gets his hands on the ball, hits it up in the midfield. Good quick recycling of the ball there. Brett Heron controlling things nicely at the back. Wasp defence up brilliantly there, and a smoking hit. Outstanding tackle there from, I'm not too sure which player made it.
Was it?
Jack Willis might have been involved there as well. Lovely break there though from Ulster. Again, nice to see different players getting their hands on the ball. Offloads happening. Great defence though from Wasps as well, and a great kick into touch from Cipriani puts Wasps right back down into Ulster 22. Interestingly, we've played 31 minutes. No, well, maybe not interesting, but no sign yet of many changes. Although I see Ashley Johnson, the number 2 from Wasps, just hobbling off there. That's the first substitution. Looks like Tom Cruise, the hooker from previous played for London Irish. On he comes, and that's a good start.
Oh,
well, oh dear, commentator's curse. Oh, dear. Maybe teach me to talk. Well, it was a good line out anyway. We'll give him that.
Maybe do that more often.
Wasps have the ball. I don't think they'll thank me for that. I suppose it's hard to tell. I mean, in this sort of game, you maybe want to give a good half hour before you, probably even before halftime, you may see a few more substitutions just to try and mix things up in certain areas. Because, as I say, Wasps have brought 26 players with them, and Ulster have 30.
Yeah, I think there's also a few positions on the bench for Ulster where they have a couple of guys in the same position. So you'll see altogether 3 guys in a certain position. So it could be split sort of 20 minutes each, or 30 minutes or so.
Marshall over the ball. Oh, a little bit of a fumble there in the midfield. Who's going to gather it up here? Gilroy's chasing hard. Watson gets the ball. Pass it off to Miller.
Chris Henry's done well.
Yep, just a little bit of messing around in the middle, but the referee's just given a penalty because I think he said Chris Henry came in with a boot. I'm pretty sure there's a new law that has come into play. There's always a few fun and games in the law. Maybe you know more about this than I do in terms of putting your feet in the ruck now.
Yeah, I think before you were able to come through the middle of the ruck and really, to a degree, have a swing at the ball. But over the last season, there's been a few sort of head injuries and whatnot from that, and they've clamped down, not surprisingly, on it. And it'll be another interesting factor. Watching Frank Murphy, it's obviously a good opportunity for him to show how good a referee he is for the coming season. So I'm sure he'll be looking to keep on top of all the laws, and the new ones especially. Absolutely.
Frank Murphy,
I think there's a change.
Stu McCluskey, I think, has got a knock, picked up a knock from that guy.
It seemed to be his arm or his elbow.
So it looks like
a crowd favourite coming on, especially with the female viewers.
No need to ask then who's coming on. It's Tommy Bowe playing in the number 22 shirt.
Yeah, he's gone into 13 as well. He hasn't probably played there since the old Ospreys days, maybe, when he used to wear a bit more fake tan.
So Pete Brown's making a bit of a nuisance of himself there in that maul, and has done very well to cut that down, just as Wasp were getting their tails in the air again, picking and going around the corner, really trying to put a bit of presence in with their forwards. Hitting it up on the midfield again. The Wasps have gone through the phases very nicely as well. Danny Cipriani controlling things, just doing the little things very nicely. Willis takes that up, sets it up on the midfield. Cipriani again on the ball. Nobody with him there.
Big hit there from Callum Patterson.
Niall gets knocked backwards. Cooper Woolley on the ball, good power drive. Good cleaning out there from the Wasp pack. Lovabalavu takes it in. Hampson doing very nicely from scrum half. They're very wide passes he's putting in. Danny Cipriani standing very wide. Good ball play there from Wasp right out to the
lovely hands
far
again.
left-hand touchline.
Cipriani's looked very impressive so far in this game. Good hands again, good pick-up.
Alex Ryder. Cipriani again. Good, those miss moves and little switches are happening, and suddenly Gilroy gets his hands on the ball.
Good tackle.
And Ludic, great play. Oh, and somebody's outside him. It's Marshall there. Oh, a little bit of miscommunication there, and is there a little knock-on in the middle? Unfortunately, there is. There's just something about when Gilroy gets his hands on the ball, you just almost expect something to happen.
Yeah, you feel like excitement building in the crowd as soon as he touches it,
Yeah, and a great support play by Ludic, who showed a good pace there to get through the Wasps defence. It was only Danny Cipriani who managed to finally bring him down.
Yeah, it'll be good to see Louis getting a run tonight. He had a tough season last year of injuries. It showed some great early season form, so hopefully he can get that back this year.
Absolutely. The 30 years old now, but not looking a day over 29. Brought in by Ulster from Agen, the French side, back in 2013, so it's hard to believe he's been here as long as he has as well. That real South African spine just coming through the pitch, and we've got sitting on the bench tonight Jean Deisel, the South African import this year, 156 caps for the Sharks, a real mighty force in that back row. What's he been like in to train and play with in pre-season?
He's been very good. He's a hard worker. You can see, and hopefully tonight we can see how explosive he really is. He's a massive sort of pairing, and him and Marcel together would be quite a force, really. A
potent back row indeed. Is there anyone you've seen in the pre-season who you've kind of gone, of the new players coming in, who you've kind of gone, look, that's someone who's got just a little bit of extra edge, or who I'm excited to play with?
Well, John Daisel's probably one of the names that stand out, just with his size, and watching him in the past play for the Sharks, his ball carrying ability, and I think that'll certainly aid us this year. Adding another ball carrier to the pack, to the team. The other one, I suppose, he came in last year. At the end, it's Callum Patterson. He's trained really well so far, and he started this game well as well. And I think you saw the end of last season of Barbarians game, just exactly what he can do. So it's a great opportunity for him this game and the coming season as well.
Absolutely. Callum Patterson, just 25 years old. I was about to say only. It's today's terms, it's
almost over the hill.
A lifetime past them. But are you 25, Luke? Are you 26?
26,
unfortunately.
Yeah, he's well past it.
Hang the boots up, man. It's all over. Good line out off the top there. Paul Marshall to Heron. Callum Patterson they read that very well, the Wasps defence, yeah. But still gathered by Ulster. Pete Brown.
Good strength, good carry again.
Some huge hits coming in defensively from the Wasps team. And that culminates in a penalty. A massive hit from McIntyre there, the big #1 prop. It's hard to even tell props nowadays. They look so like back rows or centres, or it's he's certainly hitting hard. Cipriani,
great kick.
He's just getting, apart from a slice that sent it straight out there in the last, his kicking is just getting, even you can see in this game, it's just tightening up all the time, and that's just getting closer and closer to perfection.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the most talented fly halves about, and probably in the world. He's very unfortunate not to have more England caps. I don't know what it is. You know, if he's just been unlucky or if there's other reasons. Certainly, his playing ability is really top class. He's an exceptional rugby player.
Wasps again. We've seen a lot of driving mauls from lineouts. I suppose in the end of the day, this is the sort of game to be trying those sort of things. And what a bust here. They're going to go all the way, are they?
Yeah.
Yeah, the referee right over the top of the ball. Very hard to handle that sort of punishing pace.
When you get that sort of setup and that sort of momentum, it's very hard to stop unless you stop it from source and early. Very hard to stop, especially from that close out.
Yeah, just looks like Simon McIntyre got the accolades for going over the line, but a great team try there from Wasps. Their pack tonight has been really, really strong, both in the scrum and driving mauls.
Yeah, they've looked very powerful, even defensively as well. You know, some of the hits the pack, some of the guys in the pack have put in, have been very impressive.
Getting through a lot of work.
Yeah.
Ulster will be disappointed just to concede just ahead of half-time. We're just about a minute or two off half-time. I'm not exactly sure. We don't have a TMO or a timing official, so the clock's reading roughly about 40 minutes, so there could be another minute or they could just blow it up there. It's hard to say.
Seems that they're going to blow it up the way the Wasp players have moved towards the tunnel.
Everyone's ready for their half-time break. And over the kicks go, and that is indeed half-time. Wasps leading Ulster by 12 points to 8, courtesy of that rolling maul try. So, general thoughts on the game?
There's obviously been a few mistakes, a few handling errors, etc. But that's to be expected of a pre-season game. I suppose going into the second half from an Ulster point of view, you know, they've maybe struggled a bit with Wasp power, so it might be nice to see them maybe put a bit more width in the game. But obviously, you know, they'll have to be smart in how they do that with how strong the Wasp defence has been. But you know, at the end of the day, it's only 14-8. It's not a bad scoreboard. So, and there's been quite a few positives from the first half. So hopefully, yeah, as I say, they can build on that and hopefully, you know, go on and get a result.
Absolutely. How much, Kieran, do you think the coaches will worry about the scoreboard on a match like tonight?
I don't think they're really worried. I don't think that'll be in the forefront of their mind. I think in the front of their mind they'll be thinking about sort of own performance and how they sort of gel as a team and how we sort of work and sort of the attitude and the energy that Ulster bring out and put on a performance. I think obviously in the back of their mind they'll be thinking about we have Wasps in the European Cup, so I suppose there it's going to be a tough one to sort of read, really.
Well, who's impressed for you? Look, who is there any individuals who already you've kind of gone, yep, yeah, you know, they've had good games for me tonight?
Alan O'Connor's, you know, made a couple of great carries, some nice footwork as well. Matty Ray has carried well and put in a couple of great hits as well, and it's got off the line well, showed good intent. Yeah. I've been quite impressed as well with Paul Marshall. You know, he's quite assured there at 9, and he did very well to put Pete Brown away from the try.
And almost put McCluskey away as well for that one, just 5 metres out.
No, he's certainly done well. He's definitely putting his hand up for the 9 shirt. But no, there's been a few other good performances. I suppose it's just as a team we haven't fully gelled, but again, that's to be expected. You know, it's definitely been quite a positive first half. Anyone
for you, Kieran, individually?
I'd say two people really. Obviously, Brett Heron. I think he's controlled the game very well. He hasn't really had many run-outs last season, and to come in sort of fresh from pre-season, but come in without sort of many games and sort of have the control. And he was very relaxed, I feel, when he was on the ball. But also another standout player for me was Chris Henry. I think he's got through a lot of work and sort of all the unseen work that doesn't really get much praise. He's always over the ball. He's always making a nuisance of himself, slowing down the ball, giving Ulster an opportunity to get back into that defensive line, to get up and get some pressure on Wasp attacking.
Absolutely. Let's just we'll take a minute now just to look ahead to the season that's coming. We've obviously got a very new format. Just for anyone who's not in the loop, the Pro 12 has now become the Pro 14. We've got the addition of 2 South African franchises in the Cheetahs and the Southern Kings coming into the mix. 2 pools of 7. You play everyone in your own pool, home and away, and everyone else either home or away, excluding the interpros ones which are protected, and you get them home and away. Particular matches that you're looking forward to? I'm assuming it is going to be the South African teams really that you're keen to get stuck into.
That's the first game, or the second game against the South African opposition, but the first away one against the Sovereign Kings. You know, that'll be a good experience down in Port Elizabeth. Hopefully the weather will be a bit better than it is here. I think it's going to be there summer, so you know, that'll be exciting. I
think that is interesting, that the fact that yes, South Africa actually are pretty similar time zone wise, so that's not the issue. But you in the middle of January you could be heading down to 25-degree heat, and middle of the summer, high altitude. You know, there's a lot of kind of variation that you wouldn't usually see.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's going to be tough, no matter how much you get prepared for it. You can't really prepare for the heat and the altitude really. But then again, it's attitudinal, and I think this pre-season we've all bought in, and there's been a lot of hard work going on. And we had that sort of time in Portugal. We had a camp, and that was in 31-degree heat, which was very tough to train there. But everyone bought in and sort of tried to block it out as best they can and get on with training and put sort of.
I love the way you sound so serious there, and the fact that you know you're almost disappointed to be in 31 degrees heat in Portugal. I'll be honest, I'd be there in a shot. But anyway,
there wasn't much time to get sunbathing, to be fair.
And yeah, so looking forward to the format of the tournament. Does that excite you? This 2 pools of 7 with sort of playoffs and.
Yeah, definitely. I think the way our season's been drawn out, you know, you could argue we've probably got a more favourable draw than some of the other teams. So there's definitely a good opportunity for us to get a good start to the season and put ourselves in a good position, you know, coming up towards Christmas. So that should be interesting. And
you mentioned there, Kieran, about the new coaches coming in and things. Have you? Well, maybe it'd be fair to ask Luke. You've been here a bit longer. What do you see that Jono Gibbs has brought in that you kind of think's maybe a different slant on things to what's been there before? Yeah. Or is that maybe a tough question? Everyone brings their own approach. But
it's hard to see. You know, I suppose in some ways he is a little bit similar to someone like Alan Clark. You know, quite old. They're both probably quite old school, but Jono's he's very sort of to the point. You know, there's not too many airs and graces about him. Like he calls as he sees it, and you know, his sort of rugby philosophy is pretty simple, but as we all know, it's been pretty effective. You look at how well he did last year with Claremont, and over the last couple of years with Claremont, and they obviously that culminated in winning the top 14 last year, and even how well he did with Leinster as well. So
three Heineken Cups or European Cups in 6 years that he was at Leinster. That's not a bad stat to have on your on your CV.
No, it's quite impressive.
And what about Dwayne Peel then? Again, probably easier to ask you. Look, maybe what have you seen that he's brought to the?
He's probably quite similar to Dougie, and they're both their appreciation of the basics, the basic skills. Like we've done a lot of work on our basic passing, which stuff which you probably wouldn't be too different to what you'd see many rugby coaches doing, but it's so critical in the game, and sometimes that's probably what people take for granted. You look at a team like the All Blacks. They don't do anything overly fancy or special, but their basic skills, their catch pass is by far the best, and I think Dwayne certainly put a big emphasis on that in pre-season, and hopefully that'll pay off. And I think it's probably a sign as well the type of rugby he wants to play and implement. He wants to play quite a wide, fast-paced game, so obviously our basic skills will need to be top class to do that.
And let's look back a wee bit further. You both, Kieran, you had your debut for Ireland over the summer, and you were both involved in that full. Both started that game, I think, against Japan last out. Yeah. Do you notice that step up? Do you notice that level difference when you get to Ireland?
Yeah, for me, I've really noticed it. Especially starting a game, it was tough, and the sort of the meters that you make and the meters per minute and the speed of the game and the intensity of the game is really, really high, and you do sort of feel it, and then you do sort of get your second wind and you think, right, I know what to do, I've got the basics here. And it was a fantastic experience, and the Japanese are very, very relentless, and they sort of keep on coming. No time to breathe really. Then over there as well, the heat was unbearable, really.
I'm assuming that that's bound to be a massive benefit for Ireland, having played there, having spent a bit of time there, coming to the World Cup in under 2 years' time. I mean, you obviously, I'm sure, you haven't played there before, or have you? Looking for any capacity? No.
First time. Yeah.
How did you find it?
Yeah, it was a good experience. You know, two places I hadn't been before, New York or Japan. The Japanese, as Kieran said, you know, they're very good outfit. They play a very quick brand of rugby, especially off turnover ball. You know, so in the heat and the humidity, it was pretty taxing at times. There was a few times I was close to calling for a defibrillator on the pitch, but I managed to survive. But no, it was good, and it is a good preparation for, you know, coming up to the World Cup. You know, how to play in those conditions, and also to sort of see what the Japanese are about. But they're definitely a very good side, well coached. You know, they've a very good coaching setup.
And nice to share that experience with quite a lot of Ulster players. I think there was it 6 or 8 Ulster players involved in that final game, and obviously throughout the course of the 3-match tour, you know, a bit of a mentor. Look, you know, you've been around so long, you know, and these younger guys coming through, having their debuts.
Yeah, well, it's good to see Kieran obviously and Jacob as well, you know, getting their debuts. You know, both did really well in Ulster shirt last year, and you know, they earned it, like, you know. So I got the joy of rooming with Kieran as well.
He got the golden ticket. He did get the golden ticket.
Actually roomed with Kieran and Jacob, and I have to say, you know, Kieran was definitely my favourite. No, that's not to say I didn't enjoy it with Jacob, but it was just a bit different.
Just a bit different. Read into that what you will. We've got the second half coming up very shortly. The Wasps substitutes are out on the pitch already. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them, so 9 of them coming out. So it's hard to tell if there's been going to be many changes at half-time to this Ulster or this Wasps side. Ulster still in the changing rooms. Looking down the Wasps bench, they've got certainly some big hitters there. Christian Wade, the record try scorer in the Premiership, still to come on. Potentially Wanda Young, who is centre for 19 South African caps, but a real handful. They've got a pretty stacked bench.
Yeah, it's going to be it'll be good to see them coming on. Actually, Xian De Jong, he's been a very good player over the last he's been around for a while now. It's nearly 5 to 10 years. Since he made his debut for the Stormers, and he'll be looking obviously to prove a point and put his hand up for selection for the Premiership coming up. Also, the likes of Dan Robson at 9. He's, you know, been a quality player over the last 2 years as well, and obviously just say Christian Wade.
Absolutely. So as the Ulster team, just a reminder, if you're joining us, you're watching Ulster against Wasps in this pre-season match. Ulster playing in the black and blue, their new alternative kit.
Had a couple of changes I can see there already.
And I'll apologise on our behalf at this stage, because there are so many substitutes. There's 15 substitutes. Substitutes. I think some people have started calling them finishers in this game. So the finishers, there's quite a few that we really don't know, and their numbers are all mixed up. And the same with Wasps as well. So if we get names wrong, please forgive us, because we're trying our best. And if looking Kieran don't know their own Ulster teammates. Great take off the kickoff right from the start there from Ulster.
It's Pete Nelson on the ball, I think.
Yeah,
now.
Pete Nelson in the 10 shirt, maybe a sign of what we might see a little bit more. He's certainly not unfamiliar to the 10 shirt at Ulster. He's played it a few times last season, and in fact over the seasons he's got no number on, which will just even confuse us even further.
Carry Bandy Warwick. Get his hands on the ball, first touch.
Oh, and turnover there from Willis diving in that ball. And a little dink in behind, just checks. Paul Marshall gathered it well and sends it right back. A little bit of footballing skills there from Cipriani as he puts it up with a left boot. Very high. It's going to be an interesting chase. And it's knocked on there by Ulster, by Wasps, well gathered there. Pete Nelson on the ball, sends it wide. Trimble, haven't seen too much of it in the first half.
A good strong carry by Matty Ray. He's done well there.
Nelson again. He spies a little bit of space, but it's well read again by Watson over on the far side for Wasps. Hits it up, good defence. It's a very solid Ulster.
Clive Ross who made that hit there.
You look surprised?
No, I'm not surprised. I'm just trying to see. I can't really.
I've seen him make a few tackles in the past.
I'm surprised. He was meant to start this game, but Matty Ray was put on in his place. That's why Matty Ray has no shirt. No number in his shirt. Not no shirt. That would be awful. I'm trying to tackle that. Thankfully, the sunshine has come back.
Great
it's
hands,
good hands,
brilliant hands by the Wasps.
Right over the top of that far stand and into touch. And we get the line out. Paul Marshall is thinking about taking it quickly, but maybe not too many people on the same wavelength as him. So we'll do our best here with the numbers and the teams. You lads feel free to shout out the Ulster names as we're far out there. Callum Patterson, good offload and a great handoff by Timoni. He's away. He's got Patterson outside him, and Patterson's going to go through. Absolutely outstanding try for Ulster. In under the post. Oh, and that's a sweet one too. Patterson will be very happy with that.
He's happy. Good fist pumping and celebration. Very nice.
Nelson, quite a straightforward move, but a lot to do. And Timoni, what a handoff. Cipriani won't want to see that again on the
lovely
replay.
flat pass as well by Callum to put Nick away. Great timing by Nick.
See that pace from Nick as he broke through the line there as Sevens coming to fruition there.
A big man, but runs hard.
Great composure by Nick as well. That 2-on-1 on the fullback. You know, a lot of guys over the years you've seen that
celebration could do with a bit of work, couldn't it? Really.
I think his girlfriend was in the crowd there. I'm not sure.
Great from Callum Patterson, not just happy with putting Timoni through a gap, but then to follow up, to immediately not even break stride, just straight on Timoni's shoulder. Timoni, like 22 years old, is Nick, a product of Blackrock College. Won 2 schools cups there, is now studying at Queen's. As Pete Nelson
kick
with the left foot, he looked twice at that, but it did go over. And the scoreline keeping us all on our toes. It's tantalising at the minute. Ulster leading by 15 points to 14, just 4 minutes into this second half. A nice easy one for Pete Nelson. So Cipriani gets us underway again, and not surprisingly, as he's done all game, he sends that very deep. Well gathered up by Ulster. Paul Marshall over the ball for a box kick. Oh. Good juggling, but gathered eventually. Little touch high, and the referee has spotted it. Oh, and it doesn't really come to anything, but it was a free ball just slightly high. I don't think there'll be any repercussions from that, though. I think you take a big deep breath in anytime you see a high tackle now, because it could be anything from ignored to a red card. Does it make it harder as a player whenever you're going in to tackles, knowing the potential, or is it just out of your mind?
It does, especially the high tackles now. The way the laws have changed a bit, and also the high ball. The collisions in the air. It is tough because obviously when you're preparing for a game, you're physically you want to be at top level, and you want to be really ready to go. And sometimes they almost hold yourself back from a tackle. It's tough whenever you're that primed.
I think sometimes it's quite difficult as well. There's obviously the interpretation of the ref, and
yeah.
Here we go.
And here we go. Wasps are suddenly in with a shout here off this line out. For once, they set up the driving wall, but decided to ship it quickly. Cipriani puts a nice inside pass to big number 3, Cooper Woolley. Oh, but he leaves it behind. Oh, Craig Hampson will be disappointed by that. He's done very well, I think. He certainly, his supply to Cipriani has been great so far.
Very sharp, yeah.
I think, to be honest, there's occasions where for Wasps that he hasn't really been getting the ball on a plate as much as he'd like. Maybe he either took his eye off this, or a couple of maybe there's a wee heel there actually from one of his teammates, Tom Cruise there, the hooker who's on. Just that cleanness of ball. It's the little things that make the difference, isn't it?
Yeah, big time, big time. It'll be frustrating for him as a 9, and they get very ratty about that, about the ball presentation, so I'm sure he'll be giving us forwards.
Suggesting that people like Paul Marshall and Cooney might let you know about that.
Yeah.
That's another good solid scrum. On their own ball, Ulster have been very solid, and Paul Marshall has the opportunity to clear. Well, they're taking 26 on my sheet is Owen James. Lovabalavu puts it way out.
Lovely flop
Prize a forward, but
good defence.
Speculative from the Ulster faithful. Cipriani.
Strong carry.
Good hit up in the midfield.
Held, certainly, no. Interesting.
I know James, lovely little show. Oh, well read, well tackled there, but
get back there. Good work, right by Nick.
Good tackle. That was a good run again by McIntyre. He's really put himself about. Lovely inside.
Great tackle by Callum Patterson again. Brilliant.
Yep. Cipriani, Wasps again going through the phases. They're threatening so much. The Ulster defence are scrambling well when they need to.
Yeah, they've recovered well. You know, after that line break, they've done very well to get a bit of structure back in the defence. They just need to keep holding out. The
Wasps certainly aren't getting their own way at ruck time. It's never totally clean. Lovabalavu tries an inside. He's well wrapped up there by Nelson. Cipriani. Willis. Hampson over the ball, passes it to... Oh, there's plenty of numbers out here. It's surely got to go. And I think that could be held up. That's a...
Brilliant defence to keep that out.
Brilliant defence. I think it has to be said slightly butchered from Wasser when the opportunity was there. Hate to take anything away from the Ulster defence, but I do think there was a call for that. But it could still be over here. Frank Murphy's having to really dive in.
Oh, he's not going to see that.
He's not going to see that. Not if the Ulster pack can help it. Pick and go again.
Another great
this time
defense.
short.
Lee Ludick doing brilliantly.
Goes out. Cipriani thinks he sees something out wide. If it could go, oh dear, a little bit of mishands from James. And Trimble whacks that forward. It's a foot race, and Nelson's after it. Owen James has managed to get there first. Well. Looked like a little bit of accidental offside. Lovabalavu now on the ball. He's going across. The whole thing's just opened up. Good offload inside, and Willis is away. Willis has been heavily involved in this game. He looks inside. There's the run. Is anyone going to make the tackle?
Oh, great
there. Is he going to go? He's going to go all the way.
And unfortunate for Matty Ray. Did well to get back there.
Josh Bassett manages to get the ball down. It just all opened up there. There seemed to be, just from that hack through from Trimble, a few questions.
There was maybe a bit of blocking off the ball. I think that's what the crowd are pointing at. They're certainly making their voices heard. I think if it wasn't a friendly, maybe the referee might have gone to the TMO, but
I think we've got to give, I suppose, a bit of credit as well here. I mean, I think this is the officials' first outing of this season, and certainly they're finding their feet as much as the players. Certainly, fitness-wise, it's a difficult slog to keep up with this level of rugby.
Is he going to TMO?
He's going to a TMO. I didn't even know I had a TMO. Some guy on his mobile phone sitting in a car somewhere. Well,
I think with the pressure Ulster under there and the phases Wasps put them through, I think they probably just about did deserve a try. But
Owen James, if I'm right in calling him Owen James, he's certainly wearing the number 26 shirt for Wasps, and he's made a big impact since he's come on. He's gathering well, he's feeding well. He threw a little dummy and made a show and go into the 22.
He's looked electric, so he's come into the line very well, and certainly Ulster have struggled at times to deal with his pace.
Only 20 years old. There's a scary thought, look.
I can't remember what it was like to be 20. There's maybe other reasons why.
Cipriani puts it wide on the left foot. I don't know whether it went to TMO or not there, or whether Frank Murphy thought there was TMO and then realised there is no TMO. But anyway, the end of it all is that Wasps regain the lead, leading 19-15 as the new signing Jean Diesel comes on for Ulster, and this is going to be very exciting. He moves right out again, no number on the shirt, so we'll do our best to point him out whenever he gets his hands on the ball. And Nelson, and he's going to aim right for down Diesel's channel. He's going to want to get the ball early, and he makes that tackle along with the number 22 for Ulster.
Jack Owens, yeah.
Jack Owens.
Good to see Jack getting a bit of game time after he had a bad injury last year, so a promising young player again.
Oh, and a little bit of confusion in the air there. Josh Bennett just losing out, but the result is a Wasps put in to the line out.
I think there's been a few changes in the row there as well. I think Robbie Diak's come on, and Al and Pete have gone off, so maybe Jean Diesel's in the second row here.
Yeah, we've got Rodney Ayew at the tail of the line out as well.
Yeah, I think either John or Matty Ray have gone into the second row.
So four-man line out. Nice and easy one again. The crowd aren't happy that these balls are going in straight, but it's the first game for the crowd as well. You
wouldn't expect anything less.
Absolutely. Partisan to the last.
Here.
Good offloads there by, and look, here he goes again. He's flying. And lovely at the show and go there. Good offload.
It's Guy Armitage, is it coming?
Yeah, yep, Guy Armitage there takes the ball in, but again, just a little bit scrappy in the end play from Wasps. Certainly, James is playing an exciting brand of rugby. And as you can see there, the number 24 from Wasps there coming on, Guy Armitage, the brother of Dylan and Stefan. Megan having to live in their shadow must be a tough ask, but he's a brute of a player. Centre, and he weighs in at 17.5 stone, 6'5".
Yeah, obviously good skills as well. Lovely silky offload there.
I can sense Callum Patterson's excitement to engage him already. It's it's going to be a tough ask. But anyway, we've got a whole raft of changes now, and it just looks to be continuing the roller coaster that is Pete Nelson now to kick the penalty. Gives it a rather big dig, and it's right up to the halfway line.
Very solid kick.
Ulster, would you believe, haven't hosted Wasps since back in 2002. So long ago was that, 15 years ago. Some of these youngsters for playing now for Ulster will hardly even have, I wouldn't like to ask, Kieran, what you were doing 15 years ago.
I've been 6 years old, so
16 years at 6 foot. I wonder these new players if they'll inject more pace into the game, or whether they'll add maybe a bit more scrappiness because of the change of positions. Be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Robbie Diak up very fast.
Yeah, line's pretty good hit.
Another player who's really was on song last season. They'll be fighting for that back row, but fighting a little bit hard in the referee's opinion on this occasion. It'll be interesting to see if they keep Cipriani on to the last. He's they don't really have any other out-and-out 10s on the bench.
Yeah, it certainly looks that way with who's on the bench. They will play the full 80. Hopefully his lungs are ready for it.
Well, I would imagine he'll be loving this opportunity. Certainly he's played well so far, distributed nicely, and only one sliced kick maybe is in the negative column. Good take again there.
It's good defence by Ulster.
Very good defence. They almost didn't jump against that, just decided to take it straight down. But Wasps still somehow managed to keep that ball off the deck. That's a great skill in itself. Ulster, though, have brought it to a halt, and only temporarily, as Wasps batter forward. If it stops again, I'm sure Frank Murphy will be having a word for Wasps to use it at some point, but it's still moving very slowly. Ball comes out, Watson gets the ball. A little bit of confusion there behind the ruck. Eventually cleaned up. Good defence by Ulster. They've got a nice clean line, well set, and well, it just must have been unplayable there. The referee in the end has come down for a Wasp scrum. Now this will be interesting. As any member of the pack, I'm sure you're itching just for a centre scrum at the back line.
Yeah, I suppose it's quite a good sort of platform to play off, really, isn't it, Luke?
Yeah, no, definitely for backs. This is the one you want to get your hands on the ball. You know, obviously the defence is split both sides, and there's definitely great opportunities. It'll be interesting to see as well how the new front row here goes in the first scrum.
Absolutely, yeah. We've got Rodney Ayew in there, and we've got Rob Herring at hooker, and who else came on there? You'll have to remind me. Was Warwick in
Warwick,
there?
Yeah.
On the other prop position. It's looking a wee bit unsteady at the minute, but the referee gives the nod.
I think Wasps might have some new props on as well. Dorian Jones. See that experience coming through there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's been pretty impressive in the scrum all night, definitely.
Yep. I would imagine though they're scrummaging well, but the result of penalty will probably just be a scrum. We could go on here all day at this rate. Maybe Ulster won't worry too much about giving away a penalty if they just have another scrum. But no matter, I imagine at some point they'll get the idea that if the referee keeps blowing penalties, they've got to run it at some point.
Yeah, I would imagine Danny Cipriani would be pretty keen for the ball to come out as quick as possible here.
Alex Ryder at 8 for Wasps has been very solid tonight. He's played very well. He may well pick and go and start this move off. 22, Dan Robson at scrum half now, and again a free kick, which one can only imagine will result in yet another scrum.
Yeah, hopefully, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with this formation. They look, seems to be something special coming up here.
I think that's the thing. You always get to the stage where you see a backline set up and you get excited to see it. Then the general result is a penalty from the scrum, and it's all quite a bit of a downer.
Especially from a back's point of view, I actually think scrum should be banned. We should just
there'll be a few people out of a job.
Typical back. Typical back. It is interesting. Danny Cipriani is set up right behind the scrum, about 10 metres back, and right behind him is, I'm not too sure, is that Owen James standing right behind him?
Yeah.
It looks like it's going to be an 8 pick-up and flick, and it is. And then Cipriani's come on the ball, and suddenly they've created a huge overlap, and Cipriani is just going to walk in. Well, you were excited to see it, but maybe you're a bit disappointed at the same time.
Very well executed by Wasps. I'm sure Ulster will be a little bit disappointed with how easily they let them free, but it's certainly a very good attack.
It was nice, solid scrum there this time from Wasps, and a good pickup at the tail by Thompson, or by Ryder, sorry, and a lovely offload. I think that you have to give a lot of credit for that line by Guy Armitage there, coming in hard.
You see that two Ulster guys. Focusing in on him, and that's opened up the space out wide for Cipriani, and unfortunately, David Busby was left on his own against 2 or 3 attackers. So
I suppose that's where these better teams, not these better teams in relation to Ulster, these better teams in relation to their own league, really make a difference in the fact that they always have multiple options off every phase. They can either hit it up through a hard runner, they can go behind, they can
they can play varying styles. We know how well Wasps can play in the wide channels and how much pace they can play it, but they obviously have the ball carriers in the centre where they can play a more direct game as well.
You just feel almost a gentle, a slight lull in proceedings here. I think with the amount of changes, everyone's just starting to find their feet again. Hopefully we don't see too many more and let the players have a bit of a run for 10-15 minutes. But certainly it's now Wasps 26, Ulster 15, and Ulster will be wanting to get back into this game and certainly get a bit of possession for a period.
A lot of changes now. Caleb Montgomery on as well. Be interesting to see him making his debut tonight as well.
Absolutely, yep.
Well-travelled young man. That's what we've wanted to see, John Dyson carrying ball.
Yep, absolutely. Good offload, Nelson.
I think for fans as well, that must be very exciting, when they heard that Ulster had signed a player of John's calibre and ball carrying ability, to see him now getting his hands on the ball.
Absolutely.
First carry. Strong carry from Caleb, first carry.
Nelson shows and goes, gets well wrapped up by the Wasps defence. Not too much opportunity for inroads there. Shanahan over the ball. Oh, just through the hands, gathered up.
It's a good kick.
Oh, just crept out of play there.
Too far. Right idea, there was space definitely there.
Charles Piatel looks like he's warming up on the sideline there, so hopefully we'll be seeing him this evening.
And just a special thanks when we have this opportunity to Bank of Ireland, who have assisted in bringing this live streaming to you tonight. It's a nice opportunity when you don't have a full live league match covered by TV, that we can bring this to you in your own homes, or if you're out and about wherever you are. So a big thanks to them. It's nice to have this facility. I don't know what's happening next week. It's next week, the second of Ulster's pre-season warm-up matches is away to Northampton. You guys obviously get a little bit of an extended break with Ireland. Have you any idea when you're available to?
Yeah, I think the pair of us will not be back until around about the second league game, round 2, unfortunately. So a wee bit to wait for us, and a few more weeks of the dreaded pre-season. But
yeah, you said break there. I thought, well, it's not really.
It's a break, a little bit of a break, where you can do plenty of hard work. And I take it then. We've obviously Ulster. They're three returning Lions who'll maybe get an even more extended break.
I think they will probably get a few. It'll be a little bit long before we see them.
The cheer you hear from the terraces is down to the fact that finally one of the Wasps lineouts has been given not straight. I think there may have been a few suspect ones up to now, but it is a pre-season match, and let's face it, we'd rather see open running play than scrums. So as Luke so nicely put it, and good to see as well, one of those matches that you could potentially have injuries, but just as we see a little bit of minor treatment going on there, it's been a nice open free-flowing game, and you want to avoid injuries in pre-season, certainly.
Yeah, definitely. Fingers crossed it'll continue, and there'll be no injuries in the rest of the game.
So we've had 24 minutes of this second half, and there's been a few scores in. Anyone who's come on so far caught your eye?
I think that Owen James from Wasps has been pretty electric, but from Ulster, I think Pete Nelson's come on. I think he's done quite well and sort of had a bit of pace of the game. And I think Callum Patterson is having a pretty solid game.
Yeah, Callum's done well all night, definitely.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and he's been up against some serious talent in that Wasp centre partnership, and he certainly has not looked overwhelmed by it in any shape or form. And in fact, that try that he scored was just tore them to ribbons really there.
Yeah, I think we've actually just Danny Cipriani's gone off now. I think Rob Miller's come on into the 10 position for Wasps.
So Rob Miller's come on, moving from 15, which he was played, so he's still obviously wearing the 15 shirt, but he's going to be filling the 10 channel. I'm assuming Owen James maybe will move to fullback, but
see Christian Wade there on the edge.
Yes, Christian Wade's come on as well. So
now, if you
more fun for Ulster,
more fun for Ulster down that channel, and another not straight line out gives another scrum. Christian Wade is someone who you definitely don't want to get the ball to. 83 tries, he scored his Wasps' top try scorer in history. He got 19 last season, a record 17 in the Premiership alone. An incredible talent.
Yeah, he's probably one of the best players in world rugby to watch. He's he obviously has some frailties in his game, but a really exciting runner with the ball in hand. And
perhaps you can tell me who's marking him for Ulster at the far side. I just can't quite.
I think it's David Busby.
David Busby out there.
They might need a couple of guys to mark him. Maybe Louis Lydic will lend a hand as well.
Ulster put the ball into the scrum. Again, that Wasp, just brutality in the pack, puts Ulster under all sorts of pressure.
Aaron Carnes has done very well there.
Yeah, he's done well to put Ulster back on the front foot. Dyak hits it up. There's Clive Ross, I think, in just setting it up. Very difficult to I think this is the clearing kick finally from Pete Nelson. Just a wee bit of time trying to get him into position. Christian Wade, well, you're just almost thinking, will he go even though he's off the pitch? He decides on this occasion to just allow the pack to set up the line out. Northampton next week then, a slightly different challenge again. Do you expect a different Ulster team to come out? Do you expect it to be more like the first team that we're going to see against the Cheetahs, or will the coaches mix it up again?
Yeah, no, I'd imagine that we're looking to get as close to that the team for the first game as possible. And certainly I'd imagine with a smaller squad, I don't think they'll take 30 guys over to Northampton. It'll be quite interesting to see how Northampton go as well. Obviously, we played them last season in pre-season and had a good win against them. They've quite a point to prove this year, Northampton.
Absolutely, yeah. And again, I'm not too sure where that match will be available to view. As Ulster just force a little bit of an error there in the midfield. Again, Wasps defence coming up. Ulster still have Charles Piatoy on the bench as well. I think he's whether we'll see him or not, or whether he is left to next week, we'll wait and see. But certainly there's a few big names for Wasps, like Juan de Jong still on the bench waiting to come on. So again, whether we see these or whether coaches just kind of go, well look, let's just hold the pace, we're keen to keep watching these combinations in the midfield. And certainly they've changed up an awful lot, Wasps in the back line, and it certainly hasn't hurt their cause.
Yeah.
Good scrum again from Wasps, nice and solid. Just popping up in the middle. I'm sure the referee will just say use it. I'm sure wrong. He's given a penalty, which I imagine will go to touch and give the opportunity for a line-out drive.
Juan de Jong's actually come on, so he has it just there. Number 23.
Number 23, yeah. Good spot, good spot. You need to be eagle-eyed in this game. There's that. I've lost track of who's playing. It's probably easier to spot the players who started the game and are left. There's not too many of them knocking about.
It's quite a dangerous centre partnership now with De Jong and Armitage pairing up together.
That's a good line out off the top. Great play. I think Ulster's defence in the line out has been pretty solid, unless Wasps get a drive set. Nelson, instead of kicking it, goes for a little bit of a run this time. Ulster, good spin
good
there.
Feet from Busby.
With just over 10 minutes left in this game,
well.
definitely, and you just feel that the pace of the game just needs to be lifted.
Yeah.
There's the opportunity here from the last 10-15 minutes still to go on and win this game.
Right, not happy again. Yeah,
good carry by Clive Ross. Again, just slow down again. You look like a box kick's coming from Shanahan there, and it goes up. Maybe not as far as he would have liked, but again, not very well handled there by the Wasps.
Opportunity to go wide here.
Yeah,
if they can.
Just a bit slow. Callum Patterson involved there. Clive Ross hits it up. Good quick ball off the line, very fast, but what an offload. Nelson.
Good offload from Jean there.
Great kick with Peter Nelson.
Oh, Peter Nelson found some lovely space there, and he's put it within 10 metres of the Wasps line, which, to be honest, is a place where Ulster haven't found themselves too much in the second half.
No, they've struggled to get territory in the second half, certainly. So hopefully they can maybe pinch this line out and get a chance to score.
Are those sort of offloads, Kieran? You see that a bit more, obviously, from the Southern Hemisphere teams, and that sort of that we saw there from John Dysel there. That sort of thing rub off on everyone else.
Yeah, I think it's different for different players. Obviously, he's a very strong carrier, and I think he focuses on that, and that gives him time and space to be able to get the offload. And also, you see Sonny Bill, obviously at New Blacks, you see his big ball carrier manages to get time and get space to get it offload, and I think it's very hard to defend if the ball stays alive.
We always talk about Northern Hemisphere, so Southern Hemisphere, but you've played in England and you've played here. You've had over a season now for Ulster. Have you noticed much of a difference in the style of play?
I think Ulster just pinched this line out here.
It's still by Robbie Dag, I think.
Great opportunity now for a
Good
drive.
opportunity for attack here.
Just slowing down the balls on the deck.
Good
drive up,
Rodney
good
Ayew.
carry. 2 metres out from the line now.
Diesel.
Great line there by Diesel. He'd love to get it, try on his first outing at the Kingspan. Switch of play there by Shanahan. Clive Ross within inches now of the line. There's certainly opportunities out wide. Chris Wade is well up and just forces that little bit of a handling error.
Good defence there by Wasps.
Good defence, but there was an opportunity there for Ulster.
There was. I think maybe there was a chance if Aaron Kearns had maybe just showed and went, he might have got over, but very good defence, you must say, by Wasps. Great defence.
Yeah, because Christian Wade was flying.
Yeah, free kick here to Ulster.
So do you take the scrum or do you tap and go? Having watched the way the scrums have gone, or do you back yourself?
I think we'd back ourselves here for a scrum. I think on our own ball we've been very good.
Yeah.
We're just tapping and going, right?
There's an air of disappointment in your voice there, but here we go. This is a massive opportunity for Ulster. Haven't seen too much of the Wasps line this half. Shanahan over the ball, puts it out again. And Ayew just a little bit of confusion there, and Wasps have the ball again.
Bit of an opportunity missed there from Ulster.
Counter-attack chance for Wasps, perhaps.
That's a big kick and looks to be going out.
Ulster probably happy enough that one out.
Yeah. Disappointing there from Ulster. That was a real opportunity.
Yeah, and they were getting over the gain line. It was just, I suppose, a loss of concentration maybe, but hopefully they'll get a chance to get back in there into that territory again.
Just we're waiting. There's a Wasps injury down 5 metres out from the line. Must have been just as a result of that last phase of play. I suppose we have to remember, you can see that maybe we've played 70 minutes of this game, but for a lot of those players, it's maybe their first 10, 15 minutes of the game, so they're still finding their feet, they're still finding the combinations as well.
Yeah, even their lungs are probably just adjusting as well. Match fitness is it's so different. So you're coming on the second half. Obviously you want to make an impact, and sometimes it takes a while for the lungs to catch up.
And they're obviously as well, the coaching staff, they're not afraid to let a few boys have the full 80 there. You see Louis Ludick still on there, Callum Patterson still on. I'm sure they'll be pleased enough to have survived almost a full 70 or full 80 as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'd say for most of the players here, they're looking to play as much as they can, and it is frustrating. Sometimes to only get 20-30 minutes, especially if you start the game. So it's a real added bonus for Callum and Louis to get the full 80 minutes.
And disappointing there for Wasps. We see big number 4 Will Rowlands hobbling off there. 25.
Nothing too serious.
Yeah, hopefully it's just precautionary at this stage with 8 minutes left of the game. Just get him off and wrap him in a bit of cotton wool.
Yeah.
Ulster on the drive again. Rodney Ayew picks up, offloads to Clive Ross, who since he's come on has had a lot of ball in hand.
Had a great impact.
Bit scrappy there from Ulster, picked up by Callum Patterson.
Good leg drive that.
He's definitely been one of the standout players for Ulster, Callum Patterson tonight.
There's Diesel, gets his hands on the ball again. Shanahan Nelson.
It's a good carry by Kill. Unfortunately. Just that greasy ball.
First scrum here, I think, for Carl McCall. See how he fares against experienced Paul Dorian Jones here.
Just as we're near the end of this match then, what are you've seen 70 minutes now, what have your impressions been? What have you been pleased with?
Ulster scored some good tries tonight. There has been some good aspects of their attack, some good defence as well. I suppose there has just been parts of it a bit rusty, and certainly for the last Wasp try, when Cipriano went over, maybe a bit of a defensive mistake, but I think you can't read too much into a game like this, as we said earlier. And Wasp, in fairness, have been pretty good at times, and scored some great tries. So
yeah, I'm sure they'll be happy enough with their performance so far. And good pick up there from the base, another good solid scrum. Their pack has been monumental this evening. It's
a wobbly old kick, well dealt with by Jack Owens.
Jack Owens has put a lovely little chip kick in. He's gathered himself. He's run right over the top of Robson.
Brilliant play.
Quick ball, Shannon.
Play. Oh, I think that just needed to go out wide. But
early, but the opportunity's still there if they get quick ball. When they're not getting quick ball, Wasps are making a real nuisance of themselves at that ruck breakdown. There is a penalty advantage here. Is it going to be quick tapped? It is, and away he goes.
Kieran has done well there. Just to move that again.
Oh, and just another little knock-on mistake there. They're just starting to get a few of these.
Greasy, I think, out there.
Yeah, I think there is. You can see that, like even players who have a good handle on it are just letting go. That was the right thing to do, though. I think that quick tap and go in that opportunity.
He needed to inject a bit of pace into it.
So 6 minutes left. Wasps leading 26-15, but as we've said before, it's not all about the scoreline tonight. It's about blooding a few new players, certainly, and it's been good to see those players have come into their own. Kieran, what are your thoughts on the game? What's excited you about it?
I feel like we've had a good sort of energy. There's been a good sort of bounce within the team, and I think it's a few simple errors, handling errors, that kick, that try from Broken Field where Trimby kicked it through, Wasps scored. A bit unfortunate with that, but I think we've had some good play with Ulster, some good line out winning balls, and some good defence as well. I think we've been strong in D.
Heron did very well there. Yeah, under pressure from the back.
An awful lot of pressure there. Robbie Dyke hands on the ball again.
Wasp defence has been very impressive, for a team known for their attack.
Oh, a little chip and go. Cam Patterson, it just bounces in the end, okay, but just a shame not to have seen that in hand. But
he's played very well.
Yeah, I think that was the right idea. There was space there. I think if they just maybe put a bit less in the kick and then got a good bounce, he could have been in. But it's good to see him trying things, and looking to spark a bit of a fight back here.
Absolutely, just a short line out, goes right over the top. Well gathered.
Yeah, good footwork, good carry again by Wasps.
There's not many holes in that Wasps backline. I think that try that from Callum Patterson was really exceptional, needed to be exceptional to break that Wasps defence.
Yeah, aside from that, Ulster have struggled to break them down, and that's a credit to Wasps. They've been very watertight.
Good take under the high ball, passes it out.
I'll say Jack Owens has done well since he's come on. He's
fielded the high balls very well as well.
Yeah, and solid and carried well as well.
Good tackling again, the midfield. Always make knock-back tackles and always hitting in pairs.
Big carry.
Oh, that's a big carry. Just pumps those legs.
Lovely service, Martin Kearns.
Good hands from Ludick. Dyak on the outside now. Can he stay in play?
Yeah, he's done well there.
He's been well wrapped up though. Quick ball back in Ludick's hands. A little bit of step starting to fall off tackles now. A little bit of an opportunity. Great hands by Ludick.
Great offer by Kieran Montgomery.
Just knocked on there again, just forced slightly, but the opportunity there again.
Yeah, that's lovely interplay between great break by Kieran Montgomery and great awareness to offload. And as we've said, difficult conditions, slippery ball, and Louis Ludick did well to get onto it. Unfortunately, just knocking it on at the end, but it's a lovely break.
Absolutely. What do you think? Scrum half-wise, you were alluding to Paul Marshall being a player who stood out for you in the first half. How have we gone in the second half?
Yeah, I think Aaron Kearns has done well. He's looked sharp. It's been tough for him at times. The few scrums and a few breakdowns where he's been under pressure, but he's tied it up well, and he's made a couple of nice wee snipes. So,
what sort of a personality is Aaron Kearns in the training? Is he a bullish scrum half who'll verbally let you really just get on about his job, or? Yeah,
well, I suppose in some ways he's like most scrum halves. He will let you know when he's not happy, but he's only new into the squad. I suppose he is still a bit quieter in that aspect, but I'm sure he'll find his voice a little bit more as he grows in confidence.
You can look forward to that, Kieran.
Yeah.
Nothing better than being abused by a scrum half. So we're entering the last 3 minutes of this first pre-season match against Wasps. Up next week, just a reminder, we've got Northampton. Again, I'm not too sure what medium that'll be available to view, but I'm sure it'll be somewhere. And then first match of the season. We've exciting month or so ahead at the Kingspan. We've got 3 home matches in the new Pro 14 structure in the first 4 or 5 weeks. So a lot to get excited about. Certainly the atmosphere from what isn't a full house, obviously, tonight for a warm-up game has been pretty good. And I'm sure you boys are looking forward to getting the boots on and getting out there.
Oh, definitely.
No, it's been a good crowd.
Very well for a warm-up.
Ludic, again, who's been heavily involved there. Tommy Bowe and Nelson there, just a little bit of a mix-up of well read and well gathered up. Last real opportunity she sends now for Ulster. Dyak carries again. He's carried very well in this second half, as has Clive Ross. Cairns over the ball. Puts it out. Dye's a lovely little
Big
soft
hits,
hands. But the hits that Wasps have been putting in are brutal. And if it's a sign of what we're going to see in a few months' time when these two sides meet in Europe, it's certainly it's good for Ulster to see that and experience it.
Food for thought, I suppose.
But I would imagine no nicer challenge. There's something that's a decent enough wee kick, but Nelson. But as we enter the last minute and a half, there's something special about Kieran, close your ears. There's something special about playing against English sides, isn't there?
Yeah, no, definitely.
It just brings an extra edge.
Yeah, for any Irishman, like it's the games they relish, like the old enemy, I suppose. You don't need too much motivation, but no, I think it's the strength of the English side over the last few years. They've been very impressive. So it's good to challenge yourself against the best teams, and certainly in Europe, Wasps are as good as there is. So it will be a great challenge.
Incredible catch in that line out. You'd have been pleased enough with that yourself, Kieran. I would have thought.
A great evening like this.
One-handed.
Kyle McCall's done very well to get back there.
Kyle McCall, another athlete in the front row, but suddenly it's opened up a little bit. And away goes Robson. Oh, a little bit of an offload. It hasn't been knocked on. It's just gone loose to ground, and it's well gathered up by Rob Herring. Callum Patterson acts as scrum half, gets it out to Dyak. Suddenly this open play, this is probably Ulster's best opportunity to create a bit of space as Tommy Bowe gets mashed backwards by a combination of Watson and Armitage in that centre. Space out wide. Ayew too gets wrapped up. This double team tackling that Wasps have been putting in is hugely effective.
Fortunately for Ulster, their 9 is down, Aaron Kearns is down getting some treatment, so they're going to have to continue without a 9.
We're here. It's a penalty to Ulster in the 22. This is literally, as I see it, it's 80 minutes is up. The rule, of course, now is from penalties, if it is time up, you're allowed to kick it into touch and play on from there, which is one of the other little additions. And we'll probably, I don't know whether we have to probably wait here for Aaron Kearns, who's crucial to this line out before we continue. One of the other little rules then that's been introduced in, just announced today really, is the fact that head injury assessments, if there is one, the minimum time for it is now 10 minutes. So you'll not see people running off into the changing rooms, quick head assessment, back on again. There's a minimum time requirement for that, but which is good to see. Again, it's all about protecting the players and making sure that things are done right. Aaron Kearns hobbling off there, hopefully nothing too serious at this point.
I think it's just a bit of a knock, but hopefully he'll be fine for next week.
And Dave Shanahan will get his 30 seconds. He'll be hoping that they win this ball so they can actually get a touch.
Yeah.
And it's scrappy, but he does get his hands on the ball. Wearing the number 9 shirt. Good offload. Callum Patterson out there doing really well. Good ruck out the far side. Shanahan over the ball again. Dyak hits it up as he...
He's done well since come on.
He's done a lot. He's put the work rate in, certainly. As is this man.
Yeah, he's got a mountain of work, ball carrying.
As we say, a lot of players still missing from this Ulster setup, who it's exciting to see, and maybe we'll see them against Northampton, if not the Cheetahs, in 2 weeks' time. Nelson on the ball again.
The line speed from Wasps is incredible, given that it's the 80th minute, and there's probably a lot of tired bodies. They're just flying off the line.
And again, that's the benefit of playing this sort of match. There's no point winning a 16-0 pre-season warm-up match. They always say you learn far more from a loss than you do from a win.
Yeah.
Shanahan decides to slip down the blind side. A little bit of a knock on there, and I think the referee, Frank Murphy, will bring that to a close. So there we go. Our first outing of the 2017-18 season, brought to you live streamed on the Ulster Facebook site, courtesy of Bank of Ireland. I've been Graham Jewhurst, and a big thanks to Luke Marshall and Kieran Treadwell, who've added their thoughts. I hope you've all enjoyed it, and if you don't get watching it next week, I look forward to seeing you back at the Kingspan Stadium for Ulster against the Cheetahs on Friday the 1st of September.
He received his man of the match trophy, Paul